All right, so pardon my weird lunch of blueberries and pistachios, but I find them both delicious. So that's the way it's done. Yeah. All right, now I've got your lesson 20 stuff. So I'm just gonna pass them out to you. You probably want to open your binder to the back because it's gonna be the very next thing. No, they don't stink.
I said it was straight peanuts.
No, they're pistachios.
You know what a peanut looks like?
She never said anything.
Yes, she did.
I just said it. There you go.
You're blind.
Yep.
You want money?
Blind is the thing that you can't see.
Okay,
Yes,
oh, okay, thank you.
I want money.
I'm like,
Do you have money for me?
You want money.
handing out money now. Cole, Cole, what's up? Okay, put your phone away, Cole. Okay. Ethan.
Is that
Where'd they all go? Lily,
does your mom
Lily.
not let you say anything more than
Okay, this dude didn't make, I love it. This guy got it all wrong. He made too many copies of the wrong one. Did you get one yet? I didn't. No. Okay, so I need two more because I had
I'm yelling? I'm sorry.
that guy. I told you, he was bizarre.
All
One, right?
words, not naughty words.
So much
Naughty words for stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yep. All right, here's
You
you.
know what I mean?
And I'm gonna
Yeah,
have one here that I worked off of, and I'm gonna print the other upstairs. Now, my black ink is being really stupid, so I've been printing this in like a dark blue. So Shannon and Dylan, you're getting colorful notes. Let me print that one more time.
There's words in it. Or
No, just colorful as in it's literally colorful. It's gonna be blue.
There's so much money.
So I only need one more, right? Right? Just yours.
Bro, this table that's fall.
Are we good? Oh, slide the thing down.
Oh gosh.
People get goofy now, and then
Can you hold the table a little bit that way? Yeah.
actually, Cole, give me yours. I'm gonna give yours to Dylan. I'll print yours later. Yeah, you'll live. That's yours, right, Kai? All right, here you go. All right,
I put
so
mine in.
you put yours in?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's the extra. All right, then, Cole, maybe that's yours. I don't know. All right, so do you need a rag? Something?
It does that every time.
That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Dogs. Oh, he's moving around.
It's fine. You can't go anywhere.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
All the fluff goes into your mouth.
The dog is cute. All right, so a couple things. If you look at this next set of notes, it gives you, it says it wants you to do the diagramming instead of me putting in diagrams. Right, and we're gonna, as we move along in these next couple chapters, there's gonna be more and more stuff that you guys are gonna be adding into the notes yourself, okay? What I want you to get to by the end is you outline the lesson, like fully outline the lesson.
Wait, we're gonna
If you,
outline it?
when you get to fully outlining the lesson, you won't get much of a question. You know, no, meaning like you come to class with the outline done.
Oh.
Wait, we create the outline or?
Yep,
Wait, what?
yep. We're gonna, yeah, we did kind of, but I did it in class with you. So we're gonna, over the next couple lessons, that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna kind of move from,
So what are we doing in the lesson?
so in the lesson, we're gonna go over what everybody created and see if we're all on the same page. Does everybody agree this is the outline we're running with? You know, does anybody have anything they wanna change or whatever?
No, I have to do more work. Come on.
This is
Yeah.
past, Henry.
So, let's see. We have, just so that you all know, and everybody's kind of, oh, wait a minute, I just skipped ahead way too far, further than I planned to. Where is it? So here we are, we're at lesson 19 and 20, okay? And then we have, guys, we have 20 and 21, and that's still physical science stuff. And then we've got 20, or no, 20, 22, what is it, what did I say? 22, 21, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24. These are all still physics lessons. We hit the chemistry lessons after immediately after our break. Okay, so when we go, actually it's not break, it's just when we start Q4, which is March 10. There's no break in between, sorry. Our fourth quarter is going to be chemistry lessons, all right? And those are the ones I'm going to want you to outline yourselves entirely, but they're going to be very high level. Like, I don't want you to get a whole bunch of stuff. I want you to just touch, because you're going to do like a whole chapter or sometimes 2 chapters at a time. It's going to be quick. Yeah.
So, where are we on the I might get to explode stuff the week of my birthday?
Oh, we can do that. I mean, I can definitely explode stuff. That's not hard to do. I can manage exploding.
We exploded a plastic bag by putting dry ice in.
So basically, that's what we're going to do, a bottle. So we got lesson 28, 29 and 30, and there aren't very many of these. 29 and 30, and 31, 32, 33, and 34 are the only ones that are the chemistry ones. So those are the ones you'll be kind of doing more on your own, right? Because I want you guys to get in that habit, because when you get, if you do dual enrollment or when you get to college or whatever, you got to take a lot of notes. So it's a good thing to learn to take notes ahead and learn to take notes during and all of the above. Okay, so moving on, let's look at our stuff for today. Which one is it? Is it this one? Nope, that's the others. Wrong list. All right, so let's go around for a second while I pull this up. Tell me your best Christmas thing, whatever it may be, your best Christmas gift, experience. Go, Dylan, you go first.
I got a really nice RC car. It's an off-road one.
Oh, nice. I have a friend that races RC cars, like goes all over the country because he's a trucker. So he intentionally runs his routes past RC car competitions. Awesome. It is.
Like,
what a life.
Like, like 30 miles.
Why does
Yeah.
that like not surprise me at all?
Right? He's a very cool guy.
No, but you
That I know this guy. I went to elementary school with this guy. All right. How about you, Shannon?
I blew up a mattress.
You blew up a mattress. That was your favorite
Was that
thing.
on Christmas Day or
Yeah, on
something?
Christmas Day, we went in my grandpa's backyard and we threw matches at it. And it just
Oh,
started
you
going.
literally, I thought you meant like an air mattress that you expanded.
No.
You mean you literally exploded one.
No.
That's pretty cool. Oh, you have pictures
I
even.
have pictures.
Okay.
Why would you?
Just pictures of her.
Why not?
Wait.
Come on.
Follow me on Instagram. I'm Arima.kai.
God, that's like, bro.
Oh my gosh. That's very West Virginia of you. They burn couches when they win football games.
I
All
believe that's the place you're talking about.
right. Sydney, how about you? I heard you guys got Hamilton tickets. That's amazing. New York Hamilton tickets nonetheless, right? Oh, was it? Oh, Sydney said something about Broadway, so I'm still Fox. That's great. That's still amazing. All right. How about you, Miss Lily?
I got to hang out with my cousin that lives in San Francisco that I never see.
Mm. Boy, girl, same age, older, younger?
Boy, he's like my older brother.
Okay, cool. How about you?
I ate Chinese food.
You guys always do it on Christmas Eve, is it?
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Got so cool.
Your turn.
That's excellent. All right. How about you?
I got a new computer and mouse.
Both of you got computers. That's amazing. That's what Lily said too, was her favorite was a computer. Very awesome. All right, how about you?
On New Year's Eve, we were like chilling. We were big chilling, bro. And they were like, we're gonna go outside and explode stuff. And my dad comes in and goes, and my mom comes in and she goes, wait, before we do that, I have bad news. And I was like, oh no. And she's like, we're going to Disney World. And I was like, oh yeah.
When are you going?
In a month.
Wow. I'm so excited. That's awesome. Wow. Chinese won over Disney?
I know.
You're easy.
I forgot about
She's easy like Sunday morning.
There you go. All right, how about you?
Got to visit family, and now we can do family members.
I was going to say, if you don't say the dog, I'm going to kick you out.
Plus, I got the new Modern Warfare.
Yeah, but the dog's better than Modern Warfare.
We've only lost one.
This dog is better than Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He stops Modern Warfare.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Michael, how about you?
Probably being able to see new family. It was the first time I'd ever met them. It's like our second cousin and my mom's cousin.
Okay,
And they were pretty cool. So it was my first time meeting them.
that's awesome. How about you, Henry?
I got money.
You got money,
Really money.
and that was your favorite thing.
A lot of money. Yes.
A lot of money. What are you gonna do with the money?
Spend it
On
on something.
oh, that is helpful.
Better PC.
Aaron,
I got to see my little cousin
You buy the
Lila
parts
for
of
the
your
first
phone.
time.
Aw. How old is Lila?
She's like
Oh,
2.
Yo,
She's
2?
2 or 3. So I'm ahead.
does she live somewhere far away, or
Nah, she lives in Maryland, but
that's far?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, a little bit. Far.
Yeah.
If there's any applicants,
That's awesome. Amazing. Well, I got the puppy. And in case you don't remember the puppy rules, I wrote them down.
I remember the puppy rules.
These are the puppy rules.
I like puppy rules.
And I promise you, when I say that he nips and bites, I mean it. He's still learning.
He
He's-
bit me. It was the best experience of my life.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like a baby person. They use their mouths to explore things, and he has to learn how hard he can bite to play. And yeah, that's Otto. Yeah. So, anywho, he's a good guy. All right, let's go to our screen. Okay, here we go. So you got your notes out? All right. Oh, it's the wrong lesson again. How do I keep pulling your lesson up?
Wow, that's really cool.
Unlike
I'm gonna
you.
get keep pulling these up. Wrong one.
Otto.
Don't be a dog. I'm just joking.
Where's the older?
He's over there.
Less.
Whoa.
Nice peek.
I said less cute, but still very cute.
I love that.
That's cute, bro.
Oh my gosh. He's the OG, bro.
Otto?
I mean, not fun.
Otto's funny. Otto is not sure what to think about this stuff.
You see him
It's okay.
like act like he's socializing with him, and then the next second he's barking at him again.
Right, right.
That's how I.
Well, and the puppy not knowing any better, like the first time we brought him home, I kept trying to get up underneath Otto like he wanted to nurse. I'm like, nope, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I'll just kept walking under Otto like he was gonna nurse him.
When Otto was like, what are you doing? You know, you're the worst.
That's not how this works, man.
Yeah, not how this works. All right.
Later.
So lesson 19, mechanical waves and sound, right? All right. Mechanical waves. What are mechanical waves?
I don't even have my.
Aaron, what was your favorite part of Christmas?
He already answered.
Wait, seriously, wait, what was it?
No, I asked what were mechanical waves, Henry. That was the question.
Mechanical wave?
Yeah.
A disturbance in matter that carries energy from one place to another.
Gee, how'd you know that, Michael?
It was on the notes.
Oh, it's right there in the notes, the ones that we're supposed to be looking at, so we can find the answers to things. That's great.
Yeah,
Okay,
to
there
be
we
fair,
go.
to be fair. I was looking at you.
You're looking at me
So
because
cute.
I have a
And
attention
definitely
span. Want to sleep? Yes. All right, so
Well, you're not gonna sleep. 'cause
before I draw, you guys proved to me that you know the difference between transverse waves and longitudinal waves. And you did a nice job of drawing your compressions and rarefactions in your longitudinal waves. If I draw a transverse wave up here, would one of you like to come label it?
No.
I wouldn't like
You
to,
would.
but I
All right,
Brave.
so here we go. Here we go, Dylan.
Rose.
All right, so here's what we need to know. Need to label for me. Well, let me just do this as a
Because you have another
All right, so let's see.
How did you
Dylan
draw
needs
that
to tell
line?
us
Yeah, that's like perfectly straight.
what is number. It was a one-off.
Perfect.
Don't expect it to occur again. What's number 1 here? What's number 2?
Oh, I know these.
And what is number
Wow.
3?
I don't know.
Number 4.
You would probably like.
Okay, I'm sure Dylan can handle this because he's a super smart dude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Banana.
I didn't.
You did not or did?
What?
You did not or you did?
I thought it was something else.
Oh.
So no, I thought it was a trap,
Huh?
but it was there too.
Strago, actually.
You know what?
Strong.
It's
Trough.
Traga.
Pro
I don't know what you guys are
Very
talking
good.
about.
All right, who's got it? Thank you. Nice work, Dylan. All right, so Michael. All right, so you guys should have that. Your crest is the highest point on the wave. The trough is the lowest point on the wave. Transverse wave goes at right angles, right? So this way, and then surface waves. So what are surface waves? How do surface waves differ from longitudinal and transverse waves?
Because they're traveling along the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And
Separating two media.
Separate two media. So do you see in the pictures there that it gives you two different types of surface waves?
Yeah, they're really rainy.
Yeah.
I turned the page.
Basically, you've got that right angle wave, but at two different planes. You've got the one that goes this way and the one that goes this way. It's still the right angle wave, the Love wave and the Rayleigh wave. You don't have to know Love wave and Rayleigh wave, but it's a really neat graphic because you can see in those little cubed sections exactly where things compress, expand, where the energy moves. All right, so what? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Voldemort. All right. So what's a period when you're talking about waves? What do we refer to as? What's the period of a wave?
Who would have made that? A period of a wave is the time required for one cycle. A complete motion that returns to a starting point.
There you go. So the time required for one cycle. So that would be who could trace the period of this wave?
It's from the 3 to the 4 and then the second 3.
3 to the 4 to the second 3. Right. Okay. So if there were another 3 at that, so basically, you're looking at the period of this wave.
Oh no, the wavelength is the period.
That's sort of. So if you do it like you can do it like this. You want to know, so it's the time required for one cycle, a complete motion that returns to a starting point. So if you made this your starting point, where would the next starting point be?
8 days from
All the way after 4.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah, there.
That would be the period of this wave. Should I write it in a different color? Are we gonna survive? Are we gonna survive?
I don't think so.
High schoolers, are we gonna survive?
I thought that was
That's the line.
All right, so there you go.
Our last line is in school.
What do you
They
mean?
joined us last 2 years early. They did it last year.
Going to draw.
2 years ago, I joined last
No,
year.
that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Last year we did a little bit on wavelength because we did
Yeah, we talked.
earth science.
This
Yeah,
is all familiar because
I'm
we
not a
talked
high
about it.
schooler, so I think I
like
won't survive it. 'Cause I'm even
But this
in
is a high school class, so
all right. So the periodic motion is any motion that repeats at regular time intervals. Okay.
You guys are so stupid.
Now we can move on from that word. Frequency. Okay, someone explain to me what frequency is.
20.
It's the number of complete cycles in a given time.
Number of complete cycles in a given time, right? Okay,
So it's amplitude times how long?
right. So what it has to do with is basically, if you have a point and you're wondering how many times the wave passed through that point in a given amount of time, that gives you your frequency. And what do we measure frequency in?
Hertz.
Hertz. All right, good. So if you look at the picture of the wave, of the 3 waves right there to the right, under time, amplitude, and it shows you the frequency. Does the amplitude appear similar in all 3 waves?
No, the amplitude is different.
The amplitude is different?
No.
When frequency upgrades, the amplitude goes down.
Periodic.
I'm talking about in this example they give you though.
No,
Right there to the right of hertz, the amplitude in those appears to be about the same.
Yeah.
But how about the wavelength?
Yeah, the wavelength is different. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What happens to the
That's that
wavelength?
Yeah, no, yeah.
What happens to the wavelength as the frequency
wavelength
increases? Decreases when the frequency does what?
Increases.
The wavelength decreases when the frequency increases. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Do we know what that means? So basically what we're saying is when you have a wave doing this, here's your wavelength, right?
Oh yeah.
And the frequency goes up, here's your wavelength. So your frequency went up and your wavelength went down, right? All right, so you see there's an inverse relationship. We already know what wavelength is because we just labeled it. A little bag with a little thing. And we know what the amplitude is. You can think of it as like the height of a wave. All right,
Jump
now,
out, or is he still in there?
the more energy a wave, he's tethered, has a tether in it. So the more energy a wave has, the greater its amplitude. So now, if you look at the bottom, Cole, stop talking, Cole.
Oh, shut up.
Wait,
Jeez, I'm
so-
trying to learn.
I've been trying to learn.
Blast at you.
The blueberry wasn't good enough.
What?
I just threw a blueberry at him.
I
But I don't have good aim, so it went over his shoulder.
Oh, you did? Maybe.
Yeah,
Wow.
I find it.
You could say it went over
Alright.
your head.
But I'm saying.
Whoosh.
So look at the bottom. You see the triangle.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have another one of these triangles.
Oh my
Christ's
god.
sake.
Oh, we love these things.
No.
Piano.
And this time it's even weirder symbol. Hooray.
It's not too weird.
Because it's upside down and line.
So I'm gonna show you what that thing is. That's a fun thing.
Okay.
What's that red marker again? Switch it out. It doesn't like me. All right. So you have the triangle.
Is it some weird Greek letter or something?
It is a weird Greek letter. I'm gonna show you about it.
Hey.
Hey, what goes here? What goes here?
Wavelength.
Wavelength. Okay. And what goes here?
Frequency.
I hate to
Frequency.
break it to you, but that doesn't look like a Y, Chief.
Okay.
Great. And what goes here?
Wave speed and velocity.
Wave speed and velocity.
Yeah. I got to that.
Shorty.
Then
Okay.
You started it.
So what symbol goes here?
On wave speed and velocity.
Oh, hang on. Miss Jackie wants
Hi,
to
Miss
see.
Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi,
Hi, Jackie.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Bye,
Year.
Jackie.
I haven't
I said
seen
it
you
first.
since last decade.
She can tell when she encountered it. I'll let her see the sneaky head out of the bed. Hey, hi, Miss. Hola, senora.
I didn't watch
He's German, so he wouldn't say that. But he'd say, "Good
I don't care.
time." But then it's just little in it.
No, you're white. You especially can't say that.
All right, y'all.
Did you say a bad?
Because the dog is German.
Is the dog still back?
Who would have guessed that?
Yep. All right, so what goes here? What symbol goes here?
Oh, the wave, not wave.
For
Y.
Times.
frequency.
Times. What goes here?
Divided.
And divided.
Divided.
All right. What do we use to abbreviate? What's the symbol look like?
Yeah.
F.
Lowercase f.
Lowercase f. How about here?
V.
Big or little?
Capital.
Big.
Okay. So, and what goes here?
Upside down Y.
Upside down Y. Okay, this is not an upside down Y.
Yes, I know.
It is a Greek letter.
It looks
What's the name of said Greek letter?
It looks like an upside
Lambda.
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 You heard of lambda before?
I was in the
Nope.
Or is there not a B? There may not be a B in there. I'm not sure. It's lambda. I don't
You
write
don't
Greek
take
letters.
my name.
Ethan.
You know what I love?
Lambda.
What?
Lambda.
Lambda. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, that made your day. So, we know how to do this, right? And then if we hit this other little, there's always the other little thing. You guys know what to do. You guys know how these work. All right, now I want you to look at the keyboard down there at the bottom, the piano keyboard,
Where's the keyboard?
the bottom of the page. Cole, look at the keyboard at the bottom of the page. All right, now,
It's not making.
if you look, first off, who knows how many keys are on a piano?
64.
Oh, no, don't count them.
Because you have one right there too.
I should know this.
I'll give you a hint. How many octaves are there? Look at the numbers.
6.
8 almost.
I thought there was
There's like
1, 2,
Like 8.
3,
I don't know.
5,
What do you do?
7. That's right, 7 octaves.
Why don't you ask her?
there's 8.
So isn't that 78?
Alexa, how many keys are on a piano?
So you turn the volume down, remember? That's
True.
Siri.
It's like volume 2.
Hey Siri, how many keys are on a piano?
It's like 7.
Here's what I found from Wikipedia.
Not 70.
Most modern pianos have a row of 88
52.
black and white keys.
88.
52 white keys for the notes of the C major scale.
Because you have to include the black keys. All right, so not including the black keys though, look at just the white keys. All right, now you see at the bottom, what are the first 2 notes on the left? Those would be your low notes.
A and B.
And what numbers do they assign to those octaves? No, there's a number there. It's A something. Look at it.
A1.
Nope.
275.
It's A0. Do you see where it says A0
Oh yes.
and B0? Because where does anybody know where you kind of start an octave in music? Like, what's the starting note? What's the center note?
Well, C.
C.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look there on the left, you see C1, D1, E1, F1. You see that?
Yeah.
And then do you see above them? You've got C1 sharp, D1 sharp, F1 sharp. That little hashtag is a sharp. It's not a hashtag, right?
Hashtag sharp.
All right, so middle C. Somebody tell me, these are all hertz, okay? So how many hertz is middle C? It's C4. Where are your own notes? Why are you looking at hertz?
161.63.
Sorry, say it again, Michael.
277.
261.63.
261.63, okay? That's how many
Middle C.
hertz middle C
That's
is.
middle C. That's
The one that says middle C.
Oh yeah, I was reading the wrong.
Alright.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was reading the wrong song.
All right, now, here's, okay, who got Slinky? Quit Slinkying.
Sorry.
Okay, all right.
That must be the
A4. What? How many hertz is A4? Look at A4.
440.
Yes. Okay. It's a nice round number. Have you ever heard any musician refer to A440?
Yeah.
Okay. A440 is very often used to tune things. It's common, A440. So A440
You have no idea.
No, I know.
to what? What?
I was like, yeah, sure, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
It makes
done.
sense. I know all about this.
Stupid.
So A440, hang on. This is A4, wait, this is A440, okay? All right, that's A440 on my pitch pipe.
Oh, I thought it was Aaron's phone.
No, that's mine.
How about Sharon?
All right, now, so if I switch, see, I can just do it on the piano here. I'm in octave 4, see, so the number 4 above it, and then the key A. But if I go to calibration, it's going to tell me right where A is, right? So if I needed to, maybe I needed to, oh, hey, sweetie. Maybe I need to tune this pitch pipe to work with an instrument that's not working where it's supposed to. I can do some adjusting. But that's where it's supposed to be, at 440 hertz, all right? Now, I have this handy-dandy app. Did you see the, was it America's Got Talent or one of them?
Oh yeah, the guy, the deaf girl.
There was a deaf girl who was singing. Did you see that? Did anybody see that?
I saw it.
Okay. Anybody wonder how in the heck she possibly knew where her notes were if she couldn't hear them?
She could feel them, right?
No, kind of.
She used a visual tuner, which is like this. This is how she trained. So, wait a minute. Hold on. So if you watch this, every sound in this room is appearing on it. And not only is it moving on a scale, but it's giving me the hertz above. So now, wait a minute. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find out who has any kind of decent pitch real quick. But,
no.
so wait. I'm gonna play the A440 and I want you to just listen. Don't do anything, just listen to it. Then I'm gonna switch to the other tuner, and if you guys can hum it, you should see it show up in the right place.
Okay.
Okay, so listen. No. Audiate. That means you hear it in your head. Audiate. Okay, ready? Do it. Did we hit it?
Yeah.
That's A. That's A440, and it says right there. Right? Pretty cool. Now, when all right, good. Okay, a couple of years back, I caught some terrible virus that gave me terrible laryngitis, and it took a while for my speaking voice to come back. And then once my speaking voice came back, I had these weird little bumpy parts in my voice that weren't my singing voice that weren't normal. So I went to a voice therapist, which is a real thing. Okay, I didn't know there was a real thing.
I have a friend who does one.
A voice therapist?
Yeah, he can't pronounce his R's.
No, that's a speech therapist.
I need one.
I mean,
actually.
technically.
Yeah.
He can't pronounce the
A
R's.
voice therapist works with public speakers, people that are born with anatomical problems speaking, or people who've had vocal injury, vocal cord damage, singers, that kind of thing. So I went down to Emory, to the Emory Voice Center, which is a thing, and met with this guy named Brian, who was amazing. But before I met with Brian, I had to go to see the doctor, and she was an otolaryngologist. And so she put a camera in my mouth that was on a big long stick, right? And it was like the camera pointed down and had a bright light. So I had to open my mouth, and they inserted this thing way back. They numbed the back of my throat so I wouldn't, gag, because that's terrible, right? And they looked straight down my throat and then projected on a screen in front of me my chords. I could see my vocal cords, which is neat. No, it was cool because I'll tell you why. Most musicians see their instruments every day. I've never seen mine. So I was like, oh my gosh, there they are. But then they had me do like, whoa, and all this stuff because they wanted to watch them vibrating. But before we started, I told the lady, she said, well, where are your problems? I said, right about A natural, maybe inching towards A sharp. It's right about A natural. She says, okay. So we do, because I could feel when it would bump, when I would sing. It was this weird kind of like hitching the giddy up, for lack of a better word. So she had me doing all this stuff. And there was one point where you could hear it, the thing I kept hearing. And she slow-moed the frame and paused it, and you could see it in the hertz, and it said 446. And I was like, oh, I was close because A is 440, and I said it was around 440, so it was 446. And A sharp doesn't occur until 466. So I pegged it. But it was very cool because there actually was a little bump on my chords from being sick.
Not a nodule.
No, it wasn't really a nodule. It was just a little bump.
Nigel is like one of the dumbest names ever. I hate that.
Nigel.
Yeah, like a personal problem.
Whose name's
Michael
Nigel?
Boss.
Nigel is a super British name.
I don't know.
Is it a judge?
Could be.
Yeah.
His real name isn't Nathan.
I do not know.
At least my middle name isn't Douglas.
Bro, really? Yeah.
My middle name's
Yeah, I was after my grandfather, so fight me.
His real name's Thomas. That's it.
That's my dad's name.
Oh, okay then.
You're my
My
dad.
middle name.
We know your middle name's Cole.
My middle name's Kai.
It's a Rima.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
it is. It's a
No,
Rima
my
Kai
middle
Hualani.
name
Is
is
it?
Kai.
It really is.
It's a Rima Kai Loving.
Hualani Loving.
Hualani. No.
Racism.
Racism. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
I just couldn't pronounce the word right. Okay?
Who?
Racism.
Say who?
Who?
Lonnie.
Hualani.
Hualani.
I thought it was Hualani.
Isn't it your name?
Wait, that's her name.
I tried.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I had somebody read
my
my
last
last
name
name
and
and say Strat.
Matthew.
All the time. All the time. That one and Stewart. So Strat is the most
Stewart.
common. So
I want a strap.
Strat.
Strat.
The R is in the wrong place. It just doesn't work. The R is in the wrong place.
So I know that you guys know about with the homework questions, you had to do some diagramming, and I know you know how to do it because we just did them in lab and we just did them again. So when you increase its frequency, what would happen to the speed of a wave if you increased its frequency? So what happens to the speed of a wave if you increase its frequency?
The frick.
It speeds up.
It speeds.
Yeah, the frequency goes up. Yeah, the frequency goes up and speed goes up.
I just wrote
Okay.
that down. Like,
And then what happens when what happens if you
Sorry, I lost it.
got it?
Can I scoot that a little bit? It's
Try
right
that.
there.
Probably.
There it is.
Okay, there it is. Dylan, can you come around and grab it?
Ah, now you pick up.
So what happens when you decrease its wavelength?
Give me a fidget.
Stop.
Oh,
What happens when you decrease its wavelength?
it speeds up.
It what? It speeds up.
It speeds up.
Okay,
It goes fast.
you're getting there somewhere.
It does, Jay. It does. It starts moving faster.
Yes.
I said that.
There you go.
We already answered it.
You know, she asked me again.
I'm gonna see if I can find that picture for you guys because it's really weird.
Give me a cup.
The picture of my gut.
What's the magic word?
It's not every day you
Wait,
get to
now,
see
dumb
somebody's
dumb.
gut.
Now. Did you just say now, dum dum? Or out? You've never been more 5-year-old. Or so.
I
fall.
did it now.
Wait, can I see the cup?
I think what you're looking for is please, pretty Princess Kai Lovin, give me the cup.
No,
You're gonna read
Please, pretty
I thought
Princess
all
Kai
those
Loving,
means
give me the
Rima,
cup.
Hula.
That's what it
Go
is.
on, you know.
Hookah.
Hualani.
You know what? Because I don't want it to feel.
I thought
Hualani. Hualani.
You guys are hysterical. I hope you know this. Like totally goofy, weird people. But I love you for being goofy and weird. All right, so here's a question that you guys are gonna go over some of this when you look at this next chapter. But why do you suppose some sounds are pleasing and some sounds are not? Like, what makes a pretty musical chord as opposed to a dissonant chord?
Is it amplitude?
Okay, maybe. What do you guys think?
Frequency or amplitude?
Taste.
Taste.
Well, I mean,
Tastes
it-
bad.
it
Yeah,
is
because some people
personal.
think, sounds cool, but I think,
Yeah.
sounds cool.
Well, neither
There's
of us.
that.
Both of those sound like you're
It's always that. Uh-huh.
He's not exactly
Take a cup around. Cool.
So consider a wave for a minute and consider how it looks if you could divide it nicely so that it kind of fits inside. Sorry, I'm trying to find this picture for you. So that it sort of fit inside of another wave. So like, for example,
over there by you.
y'all are totally insane today.
Well, you just said, for example, what do you want us to say?
Hold on. Well, y'all are chit-chatting in between those.
For example,
Yes.
Exactly. So we're waiting for her.
Yeah.
We're waiting for you, Kai.
No, we're not.
Under your left eye.
where?
Under your left eye.
Yeah, but
What
like
about-
here, I'm
That's
like-
your right eye.
You guys
What
are
about her left
absolutely
eye?
nuts.
It's there on
No!
purpose for one.
Like, the rhinestone and the actual lip.
So
There's a rhinestone on my face.
I wonder if that thing's
we're gonna talk. I'll give you some clues to think about. So next week we're gonna. Are you listening? Next week we're gonna talk a bit about constructive interference and destructive interference, and how that works with resonance. Does anybody remember from last year what? Good God.
Are you okay?
Does anybody remember from last year about resonance?
No, I was
Yes.
just about to ask you what that meant.
Yeah.
Yes, you do remember?
I remember some parts about it.
Okay, well, what do you remember, Cole?
Every object has a resonant frequency.
Wait a minute, Cole's talking, listen.
And it's
You can destroy it with. Okay, that's one way to put it.
Bridges have broken.
Uh-huh. You're correct.
Vibrations.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't remember the exact wording for it, but it's the point at which the object, not molecular structure, but the structure of it
Mhm.
breaks.
Okay, so the a resonance is the every object has a natural resonance, okay, and that is where it naturally vibrates. Every object
So-
vibrates.
So think about this. Water is a bunch of molecules that are all moving together. They're lightly strung together, but they're still moving freely, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's the speed that they are moving.
There you go.
So I was right.
There you go. So when you get a resonant frequency, that is the frequency at which a particular object will naturally vibrate. So what happens if you get the object vibrating at that frequency? Like if you increase,
It breaks.
if you increase,
It
yeah,
crumbles, it
It's
collapses.
if
It can.
it's solid, then it will collapse. But underwater, it will do like the weirdest things.
the weirdest things.
Yeah, it's
You're
so
so
weird.
cool.
It'll show
Yeah,
like-
yeah,
I am
it's
Okay.
so weird.
I'll show you one
It's like
thing.
it's like an underwater earthquake.
Wait a minute, I'll show you. We did this last year.
It does a crazy thing.
Bro,
Why did you
Your
write
eyes
here?
go.
Your eyes
You're like, bro, that's
Vibrating.
crazy.
For your organs vibrating.
You all are like 12 years old.
Aaron, you look like a
laughed at the
boss.
word
I'm
period for
tired.
like 5 minutes.
She said, "How do you
That-
find the period?" I'm like, okay.
I said 28 days.
yeah.
Just like 28 days.
Are
Ooh, Sasha Bullock did that in the movie.
you gonna break the cup?
I'm not gonna break my Waterford. I don't want to break my Waterford. But
You can break that?
no, I can't break it.
Resonant
If this
frequency,
is this is too thick of one for somebody to break with their voice. You have to have a super, super fine crystal one. But the resonant frequency, I'll tell you exactly how many hertz it is. Because if we use the tuner, the visual tuner,
Everyone else shuts up.
yeah, and everybody is
you have to
quiet.
be very
You have to be very quiet. I'm gonna find out exactly where it is. Okay, so shh. Okay, hold on. Do one more time. Make sure that's right.
Might be too high.
Shh, 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 shh. No, it's that's interesting.
You're so woken.
Well, let's stop it.
It sounded exactly what I thought it would sound like.
So
Then
shh, 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 shh. Do one more time. I'm gonna put it like right over here,
You
so it's
okay?
really listening. That was a little lower. So it's a C sharp on C5. So that's right, right in the middle of a staff, right around there. Okay. So now, if we know, wait a minute. Shh, shh, shh. If we know that that's the resonant frequency of this glass, then what we can do is we can go to here. We can make this an infinite pitch. Go to C5. Find the find the C sharp. It's the B. Okay, that's gonna be. Shh, shh. Now be quiet. No, it's not gonna break it. But hold on. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It'll vibrate it.
Yeah.
My ears don't like
Wait. Let me try it
It's
up
like
an
the
octave.
Amber Alert.
especially now when they don't like
Okay. Shh, shh, shh.
Oh yeah, it should keep emitting the sound for a second because it's vibrating.
It should.
The glass itself should.
Oh, I can hear it. It's very quiet. So you guys have to be super, super, super quiet. It is doing it, but it's very quiet, okay? Shh. So don't make a sound. Just listen. What? Oh, the wind chimes don't help, do they? It is doing it. It's just, it's really quiet. Maybe I have a thinner one that'll go louder. Let me try a thin Henry.
let me hear.
Hey Henry.
But I'm gonna make it break.
Just yeet the boulder at it.
Just throw it.
Hold it.
Yeah. No, Ethan will just, Ethan won't react. Cole's like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm used to hearing.
Kai, ready?
But if I go,
Kai, ready?
Cause you grab my, well, that's like.
That is just weird.
Here's a different one. Let's see where they all go. This is interesting, right? It's like an additional lab.
No, he does.
No,
Oh no.
All right, let me turn, let me take the sharing off though, so we're not, stop share.
I don't like sharing.
Do you use OBS?
The wind chimes are helping.
no.
I know, they weren't helping, were they?
What?
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
Sorry, we couldn't Skype tonight.
chat too much.
Oh, okay.
All right, okay, listen. Whoop. Sorry,
Oh.
sorry about that G6 there. All right, so we did this bigger one here. This one's smaller. This one's taller. Let's make a guess.
does
All
size
right.
matter?
Always. So, no, absolutely. So, this is where this one was, remember? Do you think this one will be a higher or lower?
Lower.
Higher.
Yeah.
Is it higher?
Listen, you tell me. Listen closely. If you've got a good ear, you should be able to tell. There's a difference. Listen.
Yeah, that one's higher.
This one's higher by like
Is it 'cause it's
teensy bit. It's a smaller glass. Now, how about this one?
So that one be lower?
It should be higher, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait.
and how
I'll
about
do it
this
higher.
one?
Lower.
Oh, low.
Lower.
Ooh, okay. All right, so
It's
now
also full of those little.
Yeah.
it's got, yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe this is crystal. I know these three are crystal. These are inherited, so I'm not positive. All right, so let's be real quiet. Let's see if we can find out where this one is resonating, okay? Shh, 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 shh. Don't be weird. Sorry, it's being strange. Chromatic, yes. All right. Stop, Cole. Quiet means quiet, you nitwit. Shh. Okay, quiet. Wow. There's two tones in there. It's getting a C sharp 5, which is
Well, the
interesting.
first tone might be your finger.
Yep, it is. Let's try this one because it's different enough. All right. Ah. That's A6 clearly because I took it off the table. The table vibrating was part of it. C sharp 5, A6, D sharp 5. So this is a whole step.
Yeah.
Wait, this one? Ah, it is a whole step. That's a whole musical step. Da, 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 da. It's a full step apart. What are the odds? All right, so let's find which one you think. This one? This one was good. What did we say it was?
A6.
A6, right? Shh. Why does it want to be F5? Now it's changing on me. Does it matter where I'm holding it? Same spot. Okay, let's try A6 and see if we can get it to make some noise that we can all hear. All right, let's see. 6th octave, A. Oh,
Yeah, I heard it.
little bit. Listen.
I didn't hear
Don't
that.
keep talking!
You keep
I heard
saying
it
stuff.
the first time.
I heard it.
Oh my god, Aaron.
I
Aaron,
couldn't
oh my god.
This one was
I
a
think it
D
might be
sharp
just
5.
I think I
D
heard
sharp,
mine.
D sharp 5, yeah.
Oh, I thought I heard it. I was like,
I can feel it vibrating
Yeah, I see
in my
that, man.
hand. Oh, you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. See if I set it down, if it'll go.
do you smell something brewing?
No.
The glass.
You're at the wind chime.
I know, the wind chimes are messing it up. But it will go.
Close just gets silent.
Ah! So there was that was the D sharp 5. Ah, don't talk. Look, look, look. Yeah. Did you hear it? I heard it. No? Listen, listen, listen. You can't hear it? I can hear it. It's very faint, but it's there. All right, now there's one more thing I want to show you guys.
I just like the changes.
It's weird. So there is a, huh?
You
What?
know what the Coltrane changes are?
The Coltrane?
Changes.
No.
So it's the
Is it music?
It's a kind of
Coltrane music?
It's from the Coltrane song. It's
Oh.
called it's from a song Giant Steps.
Don't know that one.
Yeah.
I should, but I don't.
It's he was the first person to mix the color the music wheel. So it goes from completely different octaves. It goes
No, not Circle of Fist. That's
No.
different.
it's like A2. It
Mhm.
follows the classic A2, but
Okay.
it mixes like 3 octaves that are nowhere near each other. And it's the
Chromatics or?
most- kind of, yeah.
Hmm.
It's really crazy.
Look at that. Okay. So
Hey, Katie.
I want to do.
Katie, go away.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Katie, go away.
Happy New
Year.
So before we all get loving on Katie, real quick, I want to show you guys. There is a video where it takes the
Oh, don't say it that fast. That's the bit.
listen. So what I'm gonna do is we all have to be quiet, like fairly quiet. All right. And I know you have to be quiet again. Isn't that terrible?
Aaron.
What?
You have like half an orange in your mouth. That's what
Okay. Shh. So listen. Here's what we're gonna do. So everybody has a pencil, right?
Oh, I have a pen.
Yes.
Does that work?
All right. That'll work. Now you have to have something to write down with. All right. And what we're gonna do is I am going to play this video for you.
Okay.
All right. And you are going to keep your hand. You have to be silent. You cannot make noise or it ruins it for everybody.
There.
In 2 minutes and 30 seconds, this is a Hertz test. And it goes from 20 to 20,000. Your hearing range is somewhere in the middle. Most humans are within a general range, but everybody's is going to be slightly different. So what I want you to do, as soon as you hear the first sound, and it's going to be very, very low, so be very quiet. As soon as you hear the first sound, put up whatever your non-dominant hand is and write the number with your dominant hand. Keep your hand up until you can no longer hear it. Then put it down and write that number, and you'll know your range.
What number?
Write stuff.
What number?
No. Put your non-dominant hand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What number
Right.
do we put down?
Whatever number is on the screen. It's going to show you
Oh,
all the
okay.
hertz as it moves. Okay? All right. So everybody's got to be very quiet.
So wait, you write down the stuff you can hear?
Write down the range that you can hear. It'll be from the very beginning, from the lowest you can hear, to the highest you can hear. Everybody's is going to be different. And it's going to be super, super quiet when it starts. And it's going to be super, super quiet when it ends. Okay, so everybody's quiet, right? All right, it'll be a little bit before you can hear anything. The number's up there. Isn't that weird? Who was the first person whose hand went down? Nope. It was me. Do you know why? Yes. Yes, thank you. That's the one time I'm going to say yes, thank you for calling me older. Yes, because I'm older. That's exactly why.
Yeah, same. And then I heard it, I was like, oh. Yeah, if I knew what I was looking for.
It's pretty terrible, isn't it?
I heard a humming, but I wasn't sure if it was it. I thought it was like
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, I heard a humming too.
I don't know if
The one time they're like, I went back to 20. because I
Yeah.
read
So I was kind of like, I don't know if it's on or not.
Mhm.
the one said-
I was like, are my ears working?
So we are.
It sounds like a star twinkling in your ear near the end. Or not just me.
It's weird. It kind of fades in and out.
Yeah.
It
So
did,
the volume
no.
on the computer was on, right?
The volume was at the same level the whole time. It shows you how you perceive the different
That's
frequencies.
crazy because by the end it was.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Yeah. Uncomfortable, right? But it's pretty cool. I mean, that's really, really neat.
That my eyes started to hurt.
My eyes started
Eyes started to hurt.
Yeah.
That's funny. My eyes are hurting. My eyes are hurting.
I was holding my ear and my eyes
Alright.
started like.
I'm done.
So you guys have
I'm
a
done.
few more minutes until, well, actually you've got like almost half hour, I think. 'Cause this lesson wasn't too terribly long. It's only 1 o'clock. So listen, you can do what you want with the half hour. You can work on next week's lesson and get it done. Because there's not a whole ton to do. You can just stretch out for a bit, whatever. As long as you're not like crazy. Turn in your questions, yep. I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to stop the sharing.
Hold on, real quick, guys.
Wait, Katie's sitting. Say something.
Who? Okay, so I found this a few weeks ago, but who can hear it? I can hear it. I can hear it.
Shut up.
It's likely you are not.
Okay, I'll find it later. Don't
She's like, I don't know where it went. It's somewhere. Yes. Yeah, but
I think this is from the other week.
okay. Oh, we were making waves with it. You guys can make waves with it. It's really cool. Savannah and I did some.
Or we could just jump rope.
Yeah.
It's dark and like we're to be like one of those big dogs and you're like
No, honey, he's Roscoe's. The same kind of dog. Can you go put these? Hang on. Can you go put this up there on the chest?
Okay.
Yes.